You're not lazy. You're stuck in a loop, and it's controlling your life more than you realize. Every day starts the same way. You wake up with intention, but somehow you end up repeating the same patterns again, the same distractions, the same delays, the same quiet decisions that feel small in the moment, but slowly shape your entire life. And the worst part? It feels normal. It feels like you. So you don't question it. But what if that's the problem? What if you've been living on repetition instead of intention? Pause for a second and be honest with yourself. Are you actually choosing your life or just repeating it? Go to the comments and write one word: loop. Not for me, for you. Because the moment you see the pattern is the moment it starts to lose control over you. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Because once you see the pattern, you start to notice something uncomfortable. You've been here before, the same thoughts, the same excuses, the same version of you repeating itself. You have been calling it laziness for a long time. That word has followed you in quiet moments, in unfinished plans, in the space between what you said you would do and what you actually did. It feels like the simplest explanation. If you are not moving forward, you must be lazy. If you are not consistent, you must lack discipline. If things are not changing, something must be wrong with you. But stop for a second and really look at that idea. Because if you were truly lazy, you would not feel this internal tension. You would not feel frustrated with yourself. You would not sit in silence questioning why you keep repeating the same behaviors even when you know they are holding you back. Lazy people do not carry that weight. They do not feel the discomfort of potential being wasted. You do, and that changes everything. What you are feeling is not laziness, it is awareness without direction. It is the mental friction of knowing there is more for you, but not fully understanding why you cannot seem to access it consistently. So instead of questioning the system you are operating in, you question yourself, you blame your personality. You assume this is just who you are, but it is not. What you call laziness is often something much more structured. It is a loop of behavior that has been repeated so many times that it now runs automatically. You wake up and follow patterns that feel natural, not because they are right, but because they are familiar. And familiarity is powerful. It keeps you in place while making it feel like nothing is wrong. That is why this is so hard to break, because you are not fighting a lack of effort. You are fighting a system that has been reinforced quietly, day after day. And until you see that clearly, you will keep trying to fix the wrong problem. You will keep trying to force motivation, when what you really need is to understand the pattern that is running your life. A loop does not announce itself. It does not feel like a trap when you are inside it. That is exactly why it is so effective. It blends into your routine, hides inside your habits, and disguises itself as normal behavior. You wake up, check your phone, tell yourself you will start in a few minutes. A few minutes turn into an hour. The day begins, but not with intention, with reaction. You respond to whatever appears in front of you instead of deciding where your attention should go. And by the time you realize it, the day is already shaped, not by choice but by repetition. This is how the loop sustains itself. Not through dramatic failure, but through small, almost invisible decisions that feel harmless in the moment. Skipping something once feels insignificant. Delaying something once feels justified. Avoiding something once feels acceptable. But the brain does not see once. The brain sees patterns, and patterns are what it reinforces. Every time you repeat a behavior, you are not just doing an action. You are strengthening a pathway. You are teaching your mind what is normal. And over time, what is repeated becomes automatic. You no longer think about it. You no longer question it. You just do it. That is when the loop becomes dangerous, because now it is not a decision, it is identity. You start to believe, this is just how I am. But it is not who you are, it is what you have practiced. There is a difference. And that difference is where your power is, because anything that is practiced can be interrupted, but only if you see it. Only if you are willing to pause in the middle of the pattern and ask a simple question: did I choose this, or am I just repeating it again? That question alone can break momentum, and breaking momentum is the first crack in the loop. You have been trying to solve this in the wrong place. For a long time, you believed the issue was motivation, that if you could just feel more inspired, more driven, more energized, everything would finally click. And for a moment, it does. You watch something that hits you. You feel that surge of clarity. You tell yourself, this is it. But then the next day comes, and nothing changes, not in a meaningful way. And that creates confusion, because you know you are capable of feeling motivated. You have felt it before, so why does it not last? Because motivation is not designed to last, it is emotional. It rises and falls depending on how you feel, what you see, what you experience. And emotions are unstable by nature. They shift constantly. That is why building your life on motivation is like building on sand. It looks solid in the moment, but it cannot support anything long-term. What actually controls your life is not how you feel. It is what you repeat, your patterns, your default behaviors, the things you do automatically without thinking. That is your real system. And systems do not care about motivation. They run regardless of how you feel. That is why you can feel inspired at night and still wake up and follow the exact same routine the next morning. Because the system is stronger than the moment. And until you understand that, you will keep trying to fix your emotions instead of restructuring your behavior. The shift happens when you stop asking, how do I feel, and start asking, what do I do next? Even when you do not feel like it. Especially when you do not feel like it. That is where the loop starts to weaken. Not through intensity, but through interruption. Small intentional actions that go against what is familiar. That is uncomfortable. But that discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is changing. There is a moment in life that changes everything, and almost no one talks about it. It is not dramatic. It does not come with a clear signal. It does not feel like a breakthrough. It feels uncomfortable, subtle, quiet. It is the moment you realize you have been here before. Not physically, but mentally. The same thoughts, the same excuses, the same internal conversations playing out again, almost word for word. You start noticing patterns you used to ignore. The way you delay things that matter. The way you escape into distractions when something feels difficult. The way you convince yourself that later is still an option. And suddenly, something shifts. You cannot unsee it anymore. That is awareness. And awareness is powerful, but it is also dangerous. Because once you see the loop, you lose the ability to pretend that you are not participating in it. Before, it felt like life was happening to you. Now it becomes clear that you are involved in the repetition. Not intentionally, not consciously, but consistently. And that realization creates a kind of tension, a discomfort that is hard to explain. You start to feel slightly out of alignment with your own behavior. What you do no longer matches what you understand, and that gap begins to grow. This is the point where most people do one of two things. They either lean into that awareness, or they escape from it. They distract themselves. They minimize it. They go back to what is familiar because it is easier than facing the responsibility that comes with seeing clearly. But if you stay with it, if you do not run from that discomfort, something important happens. You begin to separate yourself from the pattern. You start to see that the loop is something you are doing, not something you are. And that distinction changes everything. Because if it is something you are doing, it is something you can change. Most people are waiting for a moment that will change everything. A big decision, a sudden realization, a turning point that feels powerful enough to finally break the cycle. But that moment rarely comes the way you expect. Because your life is not shaped by what you decide once. It is shaped by what you repeat daily. The smallest choices carry more weight than you realize. The way you respond when something feels uncomfortable. The way you act when no one is watching. The way you handle boredom, resistance, or the urge to escape. These moments seem insignificant, almost invisible, but they are not. They are defining you in real time. Every time you choose what is easy instead of what is aligned, you reinforce the loop. Every time you delay something that matters, you strengthen the pattern. And over time, these small decisions begin to stack. Not in a way you notice immediately, but in a way that quietly builds your reality. That is why change feels so far away. Not because it is impossible, but because the behaviors creating your current life are being repeated consistently. And consistency, even in the wrong direction, is powerful. It creates momentum, it creates identity. You start to believe that this is just who you are, someone who delays, someone who avoids, someone who tries but does not follow through. But that identity is not fixed, it is constructed, built on repetition. And if it was built through repetition, it can be rebuilt the same way. Not through one perfect day, but through different choices made in ordinary moments. That is where the shift begins. Not when everything changes, but when something small changes, and you choose to repeat that instead. There is something you have been doing for a long time without realizing how much it is costing you. You negotiate with yourself, quietly, constantly. In moments that seem small, almost harmless, you say you will start, but then you delay. You say you will do it later, and later becomes another excuse. You lower the standard just enough to feel comfortable again. And in that moment, it feels justified. It feels reasonable. But every time you do that, something deeper is happening. You are training your mind to believe that your word does not mean anything, that what you say you will do is optional. And over time, that breaks something essential, not your ability, your trust. Self-trust is not built through big promises. It is built through kept ones. And right now, the reason you feel stuck is not because you do not know what to do. You do. It is because you have repeated the pattern of not following through so many times that your brain no longer takes your intentions seriously. Think about that. How many times have you told yourself, this time will be different? And then it was not. At first it creates frustration, but after a while, it creates doubt. Not in your goals, but in yourself. And that doubt becomes silent. It sits in the background of every decision you make. It whispers that you might try, but you probably will not sustain it. That is what keeps the loop alive. Not lack of knowledge, not lack of potential, but the absence of internal credibility. And the only way to rebuild that is not through intensity. It is through honesty. Through doing what you said you would do, even when no one is watching, even when it feels insignificant, even when it would be easier to delay again. Because every time you stop negotiating with yourself, you take back control. Once self-trust is broken, everything feels heavier, not because life became harder, but because you no longer believe in your own ability to follow through. You hesitate more, you question yourself more. Even simple decisions start to feel uncertain because somewhere in the back of your mind, there is a history of inconsistency, a pattern of starting and stopping, of promising and delaying. And over time, that builds a quiet narrative. I don't finish what I start. I can't stay consistent. This is just how I am. But that narrative is not truth. It is memory. It is built from repeated experiences, not from your actual potential. And anything built from repetition can be rebuilt the same way, not instantly, not perfectly, but deliberately. The mistake most people make at this point is trying to fix everything at once. They try to become a completely different person overnight. They set unrealistic expectations, create pressure, and when they inevitably fall short, they reinforce the same belief they were trying to escape. That is the trap. So instead of doing more, you need to do less, but with intention. Choose one thing, one action that matters, one commitment that is small enough to be realistic, but meaningful enough to matter. And then keep it, no matter how simple it feels, because the goal is not to impress yourself, it is to rebuild trust. Every time you follow through on something you said you would do, even if no one else sees it, you are changing something internally. You are proving to yourself that your word still has value. And that proof, repeated over time, becomes confidence. Not loud confidence, not external validation, but quiet, grounded certainty that you can rely on yourself again. And that is where real change begins. Real change does not look the way you expect it to. It is not loud, it is not immediate, It does not come with a clear moment where everything suddenly feels different. In fact, most of the time you do not even notice it happening, and that is exactly why so many people give up too early. They are waiting for visible results, for a feeling of certainty, for something that proves their effort is working. But real progress is subtle. It happens beneath the surface, in ways that are not obvious at first. It shows up in small shifts, in the way you respond instead of react. In the moments where you choose differently without overthinking, in the quiet decisions that no one else sees, but that slowly start to redefine who you are. And because these changes are not dramatic, they are easy to dismiss. You tell yourself it is not enough, that it is too slow, that it should feel bigger. But that mindset is part of the same loop. The need for intensity, the need for immediate validation, the need to feel like something significant is happening all the time. But growth does not work like that. It is built through repetition, calm, focused, consistent repetition, doing the same things, even when they feel boring, even when they feel small, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Because something is. Every time you show up, something shifts. Every time you follow through, something strengthens. Every time you resist going back to old patterns, something rewires. And one day, without a clear moment of realization, you will look at your life and feel the difference, not because of one big decision, but because of everything you chose, again and again and again. So here is the truth that most people avoid for as long as they can. Your life is not waiting to change. It is already being built, right now, in this exact moment, not through big decisions, not through sudden breakthroughs, but through what you repeat when no one is paying attention. That is the part that is hard to accept, because it means that where you are right now is not just the result of what happened to you. It is the result of what you kept allowing, what you kept postponing, what you kept choosing without questioning. And that realization can feel heavy. But it is also where your power is, because if your life has been shaped by repetition, it can be reshaped the same way. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now, this moment does not look important. It does not feel like a turning point, but neither did the days that led you here, and yet they built everything. So the question is not, when will my life change? The real question is, what are you about to repeat next? The same delay, the same avoidance, the same pattern that keeps you exactly where you are, or something different, something small, but intentional, something that breaks the rhythm you have been living in for so long. Because that is how it starts, not with intensity, not with perfection, but with interruption. One decision that does not match your old pattern, one action that proves you are no longer on autopilot. And if you do that, even once, you create a crack in the loop. And once a loop is broken, even slightly, it can never feel the same again. So tonight, do not overthink it. Do not wait for clarity. Do not wait for motivation. Just choose something different and follow through, because you were never lazy. You were just repeating a version of yourself that you never stopped to question until now.